In 1990, U.S. industries released over 2 billion pounds of toxic pollutants into the air. These pollutants continually invade our homes, our offices, and our bodies. In addition, exhaust from cars, buses, and planes, as well as industrial byproducts, produce harmful carbon dioxide and other deadly gases resulting from the burning of fossil fuels. While we're creating record levels of CO2, we're simultaneously destroying the vegetation which turns this toxic gas back into oxygen. The greatest example of this mass destruction is the rainforest covering Central and South America. It consists of 1.5 million square miles and is the world's greatest producer of oxygen. This life-giving oasis is being destroyed at the rate of over 1 acre per minute. If we continue producing poisonous gases and destroying our oxygen-rich forests, we'll soon be consuming oxygen faster than the Earth can create it, eventually suffocating under this blanket of noxious gases. Indoors, modern household cleaners, personal care products, food products, and even home furnishings contain thousands of man-made chemicals. Use of these products in our homes and offices creates toxic indoor air pollution. Some experts actually believe air pollution might be more hazardous in the kitchens of the average American home than outdoors near a Los Angeles freeway. Many products designed for our personal use and convenience also contain chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs. Once released, these CFCs float into the atmosphere for up to 75 years, destroying ozone on contact. While most people assume the thickness of the ozone layer can be measured in miles, the truth is that it's only 3 millimeters thick. This is about as thick as 2 quarters stacked together, and is all that protects us from the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays. Many scientists now believe that this increase in ultraviolet radiation may damage our immune system, leaving us defenseless against infectious diseases like hepatitis and the AIDS virus, as well as cause a dramatic increase in skin cancer. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, American industries admit releasing almost 200 million pounds of toxins into our surface water each year, many of which are known to cause cancer. Adding to the problem is the fact that we throw out about 320 billion pounds of garbage annually. Our largest dump accepts over 1,000 tons per hour and leaches 2 million gallons of contaminants into our groundwater each day. This toxic nightmare has contaminated our oceans, rivers, streams, and in many cases, even our kitchen sinks. Time magazine states the water Americans drink may look clear and clean, but it often contains such noxious pollutants as bacteria, viruses, lead, gasoline, radioactive gases, and carcinogenic industrial compounds. EPA records show in the last 2 years alone, 43% of all U.S. water supplies have violated federal health standards. These records also indicate over 250,000 violations affecting more than 120 million people. Local water treatment plants many times add even more chemicals, like chlorine and ammonia, to kill bacteria. According to the Natural Resources Defense Council, chlorination byproducts such as trihalomethanes are found in water supplies affecting over 100 million people. These drinking water contaminants are associated with over 10,000 known cases of bladder and rectal cancers yearly. According to U.S. News and World Report, 1 in 6 people drink water with excessive amounts of lead. Lead is a heavy metal known to cause brain damage and other irreversible side effects. According to the Center for the Study of Responsive Law, research shows that since 1974, the chemicals found in drinking water in the United States include over 2,000 substances for which the EPA has issued a health advisory. 97 carcinogens and suspected carcinogens, 47 mutagens and suspected mutagens, and 23 tumor promoters. Even the EPA admits there is no end in sight. These toxic chemicals insidiously invade our bodies through the water we drink, cook with, and wash in. our quest for technological advancement, we've created thousands of herbicides, pesticides, insecticides, fungicides, and other powerful substances. These chemicals find their way into our bodies through the foods we eat. In 1991, 2.2 billion pounds of pesticides were applied in the United States alone. That's equivalent to 8 pounds for every man, woman, and child in this country. 71 different active ingredients in these pesticides have been found to cause cancer in either laboratory animals or humans. Most of us rinse our fruits and vegetables before we eat them, assuming this removes the potentially harmful chemicals. What we fail to realize is that many of the chemicals used today are formulated not to be soluble in water, so they won't wash off when it rains. Unknowingly, we may very well be consuming carcinogenic poisons along with our foods. Man-made chemically based food additives, preservatives, stabilizers, emulsifiers, and colorings are also added to the majority of the foods we eat. What are the long-term effects of consuming these products? Are the foods we eat natural like God intended them to be? Not by a long shot. Our farm animals are also victims of our chemically based society. Laboratory-developed hormones, steroids, antibiotics, and other chemicals are pumped into our prime sources of protein. As if this weren't enough, nutritional experts now admit that soil in huge tracts of our best farmland has been depleted of vital life-giving minerals and nutrients. Add this all together, and we quickly realize that we may very well be consuming foods containing massive amounts of man-made chemicals and questionable nutritional value. What is the impact of modern society on our health? According to the American Cancer Society, 1 in 3 people will get cancer. 1 in 5 will die from it. Lung cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, skin cancer, or one of the over 150 other varieties, and it's on the rise. According to the American Heart Association, heart disease now takes almost as many lives every year as all other causes of death combined, killing 1 person every 32 seconds. It almost seems as though we haven't yet realized the extent of the damage we're doing to ourselves. If we continue our current way of thinking, we may find our time is running out, and it may be sooner than we think.
L. Ron Hubbard is the author of many bestsellers. One of those, Clear Body, Clear Mind, was written by him a decade ago, but is now just becoming available in bookstores. It has been called one of the greatest contributions to environmental health ever made. Let's take a look.
If you were to ask most Americans about the worst place for air pollution, most would say Los Angeles. But many other cities in this country rival LA when it comes to who has the dirtiest air. But there's so much more to pollution than what's in the air.
I think that when you look at a single chemical exposure, like if all we had to worry about was the benzene in the air that we breathe in smog or air pollution, maybe we wouldn't have all that much to worry about. But we have to look at the combining effect. A little bit of lead in our drinking water that comes from the soldered joints in our plumbing. A little bit of benzene and lead and cadmium in our air pollution in most major urban areas today. A little bit of pesticide that is on our food, on our fruits, on our vegetables. A little alar here, a little lead here, a little malathion sprayed in our skies. When does all that add up to a whole heck of a lot? And that's the real concerning question.
And the thing is, there's really no way to escape it totally. We can't avoid it. It's in our everyday lives everywhere you turn. Even jogging outdoors has its hazards.
When you jog outside in a heavily polluted air, particularly when ozone and carbon monoxide levels are high, that would be like usually at the heat of the day, in a hot day, that you can actually cause lung irritation. So you're better jogging inside on a treadmill or your gym because you're going to get less pollution that way.
Michael Wisner is the president of HealthMed. It is a detoxification center in Los Angeles where individuals come for treatment of various complex ailments dealing with low-level toxic poisoning. The method used by HealthMed combines the use of aerobic exercise, a good diet with adequate nutritional supplements, and heavy sweating in a sauna. The program is done on a daily basis from 2¼ to 5 hours per day, depending on the person's individual schedule.
The detox method used by HealthMed was developed by L. Ron Hubbard, author of many self-help bestsellers. For those of you who can't afford to take off and spend time in LA, the basic principles used by HealthMed are available for you to read in Clear Body, Clear Mind. Although Hubbard wrote the book over a decade ago, it's just now available to the general public. Its message is probably more important now than ever before.
The book by Mr. Hubbard, Clear Body, Clear Mind, is probably one of the greatest contributions to the area of environmental health ever brought forward. And I mean that because not only does it describe some of these problems that I'm mentioning, but it gives a way to address them. It gives a way for us to survive in a toxic world. The program laid out by Mr. Hubbard is something that is simple, yet very precise and exact to do.
Thousands have been helped by using the Hubbard method. Who knows how many millions could have been helped by reading Clear Body, Clear Mind?
The book was very beneficial to me while I was doing the program. Mostly the stories in it. I needed to hear the stories, the success stories, because the program wasn't easy for me, and I needed to hear some good things that were around the corner, and the book was great in doing that.
Former bodybuilding star Tina Plackinger was just one of those people whose lives were literally saved by the Hubbard method. Tina wasn't very careful about what she put in her body. Not only had she been using street drugs, Tina used steroids to gain a competitive advantage in bodybuilding.
I was just a nut. I was a basket case. I was hostile. I was very angry. My moods were so uncontrollable. I was up and down and sideways and everywhere.
By the time Tina came to HealthMed, she was on the verge of suicide.
I had gone from this world-known athlete to laying on the floor in my apartment for 3.5 years, only getting out to get groceries and to find another doctor to find out what was wrong with me. I lived on savings, and I don't mean to sound dramatic, but if I want to be truthful, it is dramatic. A few days before I started the program, I called my mother on the East Coast, and I said, "Mom, this is the last thing I'm going to attempt. My funds are dwindling down, and if this doesn't work, I am going out and I'm going to buy a shotgun. I cannot live like this anymore." I couldn't see straight. My head was plugged up. My emotions were everywhere. I was depressed. For 3.5 years, I didn't want to live, and the bottom just fell out. The bottom fell out. I had to walk away from a career. When I got off the anabolic steroids, my knees hurt so bad I had to go through rehabilitation for a year on that, and it wasn't the life I wanted to live. And so after about maybe 4 weeks in the program, all of a sudden it was like a miraculous thing. I felt better. I started to feel good. The depression was lifting. I could see straight. And I had an enthusiasm for life that I hadn't had for years.
Brody Greer is a different case. His apartment was sprayed for insects with the wrong chemicals, completely changing his whole system. Brody then found HealthMed and turned it all around.
I felt like living life. I actually looked at a tree and cared about it. And, when I came here, I didn't care. And when I left, I did. And you get your alertness back. You get your thinking processes back. And I guess the reason I'm so emotional about this is you don't know what you got until you lose it. And then when you lose it, you're so sad. And then when you get it back, you're so happy.
The most striking changes that I see on people who have finished the Hubbard program are usually subjective ones, in that they're very much improved in their quality of life, and they're happy with their increased sense of well-being. They feel that they have better mental clarity, and that often that their memory's better, and they're very happy with that.
Well, I think that the studies that we have done on the purification program, as depicted in Clear Body, Clear Mind, clearly show that the overall improvement of the individual in IQ, in success in life, in happiness, we measure these kinds of things with various tests, in cholesterol, in the athletic performance, in stability, really show that if we reduce this load from the nervous system, from the mind, from the body, you can really be vibrant in terms of people's health.
And life is good today. I don't think about that gun. I can't believe that I'm that same woman.